Hello, I'm back soon enough, and we have two Kentucky bourbon whiskeys, and they're both aged 4 years, and they're going to battle. This is a liter of Bellows. William Bellows, introduced in 1930. Like literally, this is the truth. I checked trademark data. This company was founded in 1930. This is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Doesn't say sour mash, but every Kentucky whiskey doesn't use the sour mash method. But it says age mellowed 4 years in oak barrels, which is a redundant statement because by law, bourbon has to be mellowed in oak barrels or aged, whatever you want to call it. It almost looks like this glass is blown. It's got bubbles in it, but it's clearly molded. But it looks like it's kind of a rustic bottle. I don't know what glass company they're using. And if you look at the label carefully, it's like a yellow and white drawing of like an old Kentucky scene. But this is bottled in Missouri, It's bottled in Missouri. So they ship it to Missouri, which is across the Mississippi River from Kentucky, and it's bottled there by Luxco. Bellows was never a distilling company, okay? They only procured products, whether it was gin or rum or brandy or whiskey. They're like Just Ernie and Brooks. You ever heard of J&B Scotch, Just Ernie and Brooks? Those people never produced a single drop of liquor or wine. They're called brokers. If you look on the Just Ernie and Brooks website, they're simply wine and liquor brokers. They buy and sell wine and liquor. Okay, but that's how some people do it. Here is 10 High Kentucky bourbon whiskey, a blend. There really is a distillery in Kentucky. It's called Buffalo Trace. There's one up the highway called Barton 1792. And they produce a lot of bourbon of cheap, mid-range, and expensive, okay? This is a blended bourbon, meaning it's a blend of straight bourbon, 51%, and then 49% grain neutral spirits, unaged corn liquor. Okay, it's aged 4 years, and it's sour mash. They use the sour mash method. It's bottled in California. Not produced in California. It's called Kentucky whiskey. But it's bottled in California, probably for the West Coast, and in Kentucky for the east of the Mississippi. Okay. I don't think this particular one is still produced. This is a bottle I found at a local store for $9.99. The current version is bourbon with natural flavors. It doesn't say blended bourbon. It says bourbon with natural flavors. They're both 80 proof. And also, the current version does not have an age statement. No age statement. Although I saw somebody made a video last year, and he said he had a bottle and it said age 3 years. But that might have been for that batch or whatever, because the bottle I bought has no age statement anywhere on the bottle. Okay, so it's from the Sazerac Company. They own Barton. Can you still find this bottle if it's still not, even if it's not produced? Yeah, you can find it. I bought it. I told you I bought it yesterday. They had 2 left. Now they probably had 12 bottles, but all the other 10 were the current version, the bourbon with natural flavors. Okay. Nice. It's a pretty bottle. I got to say, I like the bottle. It's cream colored, got the red highlights. It looks nice. That should be enough. Bellows, well, it's kind of drab, but it's all right. It looks like a well bourbon. And that's what it is. You say, what's a well bourbon? They've got it. If you go to a bar or a bar and grill at a restaurant, there's a well. They call it a well. It's down below. Like below, like a well. And they don't showcase that stuff. It's just you say, give me a bourbon and Coke. Okay, sure enough. They'll grab a bourbon, all right. but it's not going to be Maker's Mark. It's going to be Bellows, and they're going to mix it with Coke. Fine. You got your $6 worth. You'd be lucky if you find a bourbon and Coke at a bar for $6 this day and age. You say, oh no. Now the appearance, you know what? The 10 high is a good deal darker. It's more amber than gold, and the Bellows is gold. Now you go to the restaurant, you say, or the bar, and you say, I want Maker's Mark with Coke. Fine. It's not gonna be for the special. You say, well, the special is $6. Oh yeah, but you called for that one, so it's gonna be $8. And if it cost the restaurant 80 cents to prepare that for you, they didn't know what they were doing. It's probably less than that. But you're gonna happily drink it. Okay. But that's what a well drink is, or a rail drink. They call it a rail. It'd be on a rail. And they could pull it off of that. It's like you can grab it off of that. It like hangs on that, and they pour it. They did it to me when I was at I say they did it to me. I asked for it. They did it to me at a local New Orleans restaurant, Yale College Inn. I said, this guy that used to be the bartender there until he kind of went to me kind of cuckoo and left. But they said the rumor around New Orleans, he made the best old fashioned in the city. So they say, you got to get his old fashioned. He does the best. I said, okay. I said, give me an old fashioned. Sure enough, he made it. It was very nice. But I noticed he grabbed from down below. It was probably something like, it probably wasn't even straight bourbon. It was probably Beam's 8-star. Oh my goodness. Blended whiskey. Oh well. Try it out. Go to a bar in your area and ask for a Beam and Coke, and carefully watch what they're doing. There's a very good chance of grabbing Beam's 8-star and mixing it with Coke, not Beam, Jim Beam, straight bourbon. They're not cheating you because you didn't say, I want Jim Beam straight bourbon whiskey and Coke. You said, I want a Beam and Coke. And that's what they gave you, a Beam and Coke. But then go to the liquor store and see what Beam's 8-star costs. And I can still buy that around here. Well, in the New Orleans area, not here. What do we get here? We get Kentucky Dale, Heaven Hill Kentucky blended whiskey. Yeah, I would say those are the two most common around here: Kentucky Dale, Heaven Hill Kentucky blended whiskey. Oh, well, of course, Seagram 7 Crown. Of course, everybody sells that. Every liquor store in America sells that. That's a higher grade product, though. You won't find that for $6.99. I went to so many bars the last month, so many restaurants and bars, and they all sold Skull vodka. Every single one of those places had Skull, Skol, Skull vodka. I saw it right on the shelf, right on the bar. Okay. On aroma, it's close, like it's really close. But there's a little difference. And here's the difference. That one, I might be picking up a little neutral spirits. You say, but it doesn't have any aroma. How do you pick it up? That's what I'm picking up, their lack of. This one seems to have some charred oak, a more pronounced charred oak. That's what it seems to be. So I'm thinking initially, turn on the light, get a little better lighting. Although the lighting's not terrible. It is overcast today, though, unfortunately. Couldn't get the button press. All right. So in an initial sense, I think this is the Bellows. All right, let's go with the taste. Cheers. Yeah, vanilla, oak, very light. Sugar water. All bourbon to me tastes like sugar water. That's a meaningless thing to say. All whiskey tastes like sugar water to me. It just does. Always has. Uh, bite? Nope. Harshness? No. Smooth? Yes. Pleasant? Sure. Offensive? No. Enjoyable? Yes. Elaborate? No. Basic? Yes. Okay, there you go. Over here. Clearly, that's straight bourbon whiskey, and it is not a blend. This is Bellows. Got it. Immediately. How do we know it's straight bourbon as opposed to blend? Well, a fairly pronounced charred oak presentation. Charred oak, not present in the 10 high. A more robust flavor, not really vanilla and not so much sugar water. Um, it's hard for me to do a price comparison because I really don't know what Bellows costs. I'm gonna say $9.99, probably the same price as the 10 high. Because I notice a lot of inexpensive straight bourbons be the same price as inexpensive blended whiskeys. They are the same price. So it's kind of like, well, whatever you want. It's like whatever you feel like drinking. Some people prefer blended whiskey. I knew a guy, he died. God rest his soul. He was a nice guy, really nice guy. But he just didn't want to drink straight bourbon. He would say, "Go get me a Canadian." He preferred Canadian blended whiskeys. And if we were working at bingo, he said, "Could you get me a Sprite mixed with one of the Canadian blends?" I said, "Sure." He always wanted that. He didn't want the bourbon. Okay. So if you fooling yourself thinking that, oh, everybody wants straight bourbon, you're wrong. Because what's the number one selling whiskey in the United States today, right now? What is it? What is it? You tell me. I know what it is already. Bellows is nice. I mean, could it be coming from Luxco Distillers, who makes Evan Williams? Not Evan Williams. uh, that's a Heaven Hill brand. What am I thinking of? The Ezra Brooks. They all got the same kind of these biblical names, you know. Um, well, wait a minute. I don't remember Evan in the Bible. But anyway, Ezra Brooks. Um, yeah, it's probable. It's not even likely. It's probable. You know, probable and likely. Certainly possible. Yeah. Okay. Fine. I'm talking about Ezra Brooks, but you know, I never had it in my life. Never had Ezra Brooks in my life. Never tried it. The regular one comes in at 90 proof. Ezra Brooks comes in stronger, 90 proof, like Jack Daniels used to be. Ezra Brooks would be a lot cheaper than Jack Daniels, probably better. I'm not slagging on Jack Daniels, but I mean, come on. But I would like to start with Ezra Brooks White Label, the blended whiskey, and then go up the ladder. But golly, with my back stock, I'll be 100 years old before I try it. Tommy Carroll back again. Cheers, Louisiana Liquor Reviews. Almost like deja vu. Yeah, I know. I told you I'm trying to bust this out. I'm not trying to rush it per se, but I'm trying to get through it because I want to get to the brandy. And I got a great brandy. Oh, that thing is so good. I just kept thinking, what is it going to taste like? The company's been around since like 1810. Oh boy, you can't. Best $16.99 I ever paid. I can't wait to do it, you know. Oh, it's so good. I prefer Seagram's VO, but it's probably Crown Royal. Seagram's VO is very popular. It's always in the top 10. You know, whiskeys in America, it's always in the top 10. Always. Used to be number one, but like, you know, in 1963 or something like that. But and Seagram's 7 Crown's always in the top 10. So you got 2 Seagrams out of the top 10 all the time. But you're right, it's Crown Royal. Crown Royal is the number 1 selling whiskey in the United States as of 2021. So for 3 years now. 21, 22, 23. And that's blended. So you could say, oh, people don't know quality. Okay. I guess not. They watched the halftime show. Joe Appleton says, show the brandy. At the end, I will. Okay, so we're going to say the winner, the all-time triumphanator, is Bellows. If you ever see Bellows, oh, this light is so strong. If you ever see Bellows, buy it because it's really good and it's really cheap. And I paid $5.99 for a liter, and that is not a lie. That was 2018, but you know, I'm sorry, 2019. But woo-wee. Hard to believe, huh? Hard to believe. 10 high, yeah, you can buy it. It's fine. It's not going to win. It's not going to beat a straight bourbon, though, I don't think. I don't think it will. I'm pretty sure it won't. But for a blended bourbon, yeah. It's probably like around the Kentucky Gentleman type situation. But I don't think Kentucky Gentleman is a blended bourbon anymore. It's been recast. It's bourbon with natural flavors. Oh. Okay, so does anybody else want to see the brandy? Anyone want to see the brandy that's coming up like a flower? Da, 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 da. I hear that Ford Power Stroke diesel. 10 high is pretty good though. I mean, really, it's pleasant. Anyone want to see the brandy? Here's the brandy. It's called Reynal. I don't need the light on anymore. Reynal. Very smooth old pale. This is a VSOP, not the VS. They make an XO. They make a Napoleon and all of these specialties, but we don't get them in the United States, to my knowledge. This was $16.99. It's got the 3 barrels, because if you go to England, it's not called Reynal. It's called 3 barrels from Reynal. The people that make it's called Reynal. I don't know why it's not called 3 barrels in the United States. Probably some trademark thing. There's probably some other obscure liquor called 3 barrels here that nobody ever heard of, but they got the trademark, so they can't sell it as 3 barrels in the U.S. But it's called Reynal. The company's been around since 1810. It says, Reynal French brandy is owned by a small company with long-standing family heritage based in the town of Cognac, southwest France. It's not called Cognac, though, because I guess some of the brandy's from outside of Cognac, so it's just French brandy. Is Cognac better than French brandy? Not to my knowledge. I've tried a lot of French brandy and I tried a lot of Cognac, and I don't see any difference. I think it's just all a salesmanship thing. 10 high. It's a winner in its own little way, quaint little way. Okay, Reynal and Company, imported brandy de France, brandy of France. So it says Avenue Victor Hugo, Avenue Victor Hugo, Commissariat Cognac France, 40% alcohol. There you go. Oh man, this stuff is, and it's imported by William Grant and Sons. So they got a contract with William Grant to distribute their product because the company is so small they probably can't afford to do it on their own. So they're in collaboration with William Grant and Sons, and that is so common. Just like the Cruzan rum is in collaboration with Beam Suntory to get their product out on the market. And probably they got to share the profits with them naturally. They ain't doing it because they're their friend. But that's how business works. Like Leinenkugels. Leinenkugels used to be sold in Wisconsin and basically nowhere else. Then they made an agreement with Miller Brewing Company. Now they sell it all around. Why is that? Because now they got the money behind them. Okay, well, y'all take care now. So we got a lot of exciting bourbon taste challenges coming up. And then we off to brandy, and then to rum.